Bonjour à tous et bienvenue sur l'œil d'Ophidia. Welcome James and Chris and Pedro, of course. Nice to see you guys today. Hi from the other side of the world because
Bonjour.
you're in New Zealand obviously, and it's early for us, but it's much later for you.
And
How
it's
are you guys
winter.
today?
Yeah, great to see you again, Romain and Pedro, and thank you very much for welcoming us back onto the show and having an opportunity to talk to all of the fans across France and Europe and
Great.
around the world.
Yeah, yeah, around the world. Yeah, we have a lot of things to talk about, but first I want to do a short introduction for Chris because people know James because we've interviewed you and you're basically the face of the company these days. But Chris is one of the co-founders of LSS, and he's been there since the beginning. So Chris, can you explain to us what your role is at LSS? I think you're in charge of organized play too, but can you tell us more about your role in the company and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So look, I look after operations in Legend Story Studios, which colloquially we refer to as the pits. One side of the office is the beautiful part where everybody does the game design and the art and the packaging, and then there's my side of the building where we get down to the business and actually do all the operations side of things. So. Yeah, if James designs the game and then Robbie makes it look beautiful on the art, then it comes over to me, and I look after manufacturing, supply chain. We've got all the store relationships, distributor relationships, all the customer service and player inquiries, all the in-store organised play, all the premiere organised play, and everything that you see on the website. All of that operational stuff sits under me inside the studio. So, yeah,
That's a lot.
people, yeah.
That's a lot.
So, yeah, no, it's a good size remit, but no, it's great to actually be able to work to be able to bring the game out to the community. You really get a very strong sense of connection with the flesh and blood community around the world when you're dealing with the stores, dealing with the player queries, dealing with the content and things like that. So very lucky to actually have a position like this with the studio.
We know that James is a gamer, he's a card gamer, and he's been for a long time. We know his passion, but is that the same for you? Were you a gamer before joining LSS? Do you?
Yeah, yeah. Since back in 1994.
Oh yeah.
So that's how I actually know James. Is from playing card games back in the 1990s. And yeah, I don't know. James and I just seemed destined to keep running into each other right through our lives. So. Through the 2000s when you would randomly run into each other in Sydney, and then in the 2010s when we were both up in Beijing together, and ran into him one day up there, and he said that he was working on a card game, and I said to him, well, if you ever need to actually get the money together to get the studio off the ground, then come and have a chat with me from there. And in 2019 he called me up, and off we went from there to actually put the business piece around Legend Story Studios.
Ah, that's great. Yeah, I didn't know it was that much of a passion for you too. What did you play before playing? So I guess you played Magic.
Yeah, yeah. So I started off playing Magic the Gathering, and various precursor games to that as well. So probably Hero Quest was actually the game that sort of got me into the whole
Oh, nice.
sort of fantasy game setting to start off with. I had a Commodore 64 back in the 80s as well. So that arcade games, all the different pieces that Flesh and Blood tries to bring together as an aesthetic were sort of part of my childhood and growing up. Played a lot of Pro Tour qualifiers, played various national championships and things like that. Nothing as illustrious as what James had, but yeah, so a long history in gaming, and it's just it's great to actually be able to now, so that you can make a career out of it and work at the studio to bring some of the things that were really special to me in my life back to the community. As we design our organised play, it's been really important to me to actually sort of look back on what were the most special things from my personal experience in organised play and how I can try and bring that to communities around the world for how they can experience their organised play. So pre-releases, road to nationals, things like that. A lot of that just draws on my personal experience for what I enjoyed and what I think other people will like as well around the world.
I think we have a guest. Yeah, a new guest. Here comes a new challenger. Yeah.
Indeed. There we go.
Okay, cool. Well, let's get the elephant out of the room right away. You know about the outcry about some translation issues, especially in French and with the Black Label history pack. Can you tell us what happened with the translation and maybe about the process? I don't know if you what you think about what happened and what you think about the issues, if it's a problem for you and how you plan to fix it. I don't know who wants to answer this one.
Yeah, sure. I can probably both contribute something to this answer, but yeah, I mean, like we put out on the announcement on fabtcg.com. Look, it's a really serious issue for us. The commitment that we have to the European market is very significant, and it's demonstrated by bringing the Pro Tour to France and the depth in of organized play programs that are running across France week on week on week, or sorry, across Europe week on week on week. Multiple callings coming to the territory, and we have a very long term view to it. We launched in Europe back in 2010 with English language, but it was always our ambition to localize Flesh and Blood for non English speaking fans across the continent to be able to enjoy the game in their mother tongue. So it is a project that it's of really high importance to the studio to get right, and we really did invest a lot into the localization, and we are continuing to do so. Look, the reality is that it's really quite a challenging project to get right, and we didn't take it one language at a time. It wasn't like, oh, let's just do one European language. It's like we kind of went all in on this and was like, yeah, let's just start by doing four.
Yeah.
And maybe we bit off more than we could chew. If I'm being honest with you, if we were more incremental about it, maybe it would have been a smaller project to handle. But we are a pretty ambitious group of people at Legend Story Studios, and we really want to to service the whole of Europe to the highest standard that we can. And I think there was quite a bit of the motivation behind doing four straight out of the gate, but it really it became quite a a very big undertaking for the studio. And keep in mind, we're not a publicly listed company, right? We're a small independent studio that is growing very quickly, and bringing on a major project like localization of four languages is a big undertaking. And we have learned a tremendous amount from this project and the processes, and some parts of the process were okay, and some parts obviously weren't. And you can see that very obviously by the outcome, the standard of some of the translation that has been put into the product. But I mean, to give you a gauge on how serious we are about producing exceptional quality product, we seriously were considering to cancel the launch, destroy the product, and go back and retranslate it and do it all over again. And we reached out to multiple members of the community across Europe for all four of the languages, and provided them with the PDF files of the card faces to get feedback on actually what is the reaction of the fans to the quality of the translation. And as we said in the announcement, it was unanimous that the feedback was that the translation wasn't quite at the standard that uh, that they expected, or that fans would expect. But it was absolutely unanimous that fans in the opinion of the people we reached out to, would be more upset if we just cancelled the launch altogether. So that's sort of where we ended up, and based on that feedback, we have gone ahead with the launch, and we yes, feedback has been coming into the studio over the week or so that the product has been out there, kind of very consistent with that feedback that the community members gave to us while we were going through that decision making process. That yeah, it's great to have the localized product in the market, and yes, the cards are playable, but the way that it has been translated has lost a lot of the nuance of the gamification and the subtlety of some of the translation. And yeah, there's a few of like the card types like Ranger we know is a very problematic translation, and
Yeah.
the way that Go Again or Pitch has been translated, so Pitch in particular has been translated, really isn't ideal. Um, so that's been very consistent from all areas of the feedback that we've received. And yeah, look, we've um, already made significant improvements in the way that we are going to be translating going forward. So, yeah, future localized products that will be coming through, we are very confident that the translation standard is going to be much better than the 1HP Black Label. And we've started working with some very experienced TCG industry translators to help us with this going forward as well. But yeah, as I mentioned in the announcement, as a studio, we have a philosophy or a culture, particularly at the founder level, of continuous improvement, and that's in all areas of the business. It's not just related to localization or translation, but in all areas, we're always striving to do things better, whether it's organized play experiences, whether it's product design, whether it's the way that we communicate, whether it's the way that our software like Gem works and people can interact with that, or whether it's the print and manufacturing quality, or whether it's the way we operate our supply chain, or the way we work with distributors, the way that we allocate products. Like all areas of the business are always under scrutiny, and we're always pushing ourselves to get better. And the translation is just another such example of this, where yeah, we've done our best at that point in time. We know that it's not at the standard that it should be at, and that fans have come to expect from a Legend Story Studios product. And we're really striving hard, and we're committed to, and we have absolute confidence that it is going to get better as we move forward.
Yeah, it's important to say that the community, I think, maybe overreact because you have such a level of standard and of quality for everything that you do, especially organized play. I want to talk about that later. And the Marvel, the Cold Fall Hero are amazing. People went crazy when they opened that. It's the first time in the history. And everything was so perfect that the disappointment of the translation were make people overreact, and they were really sad and really exciting about opening that also, and also uprising at the same time. People were opening both, and both experience are crazy when you open those packs. So yeah, I don't know, it's
I do want to
bittersweet.
say that look, I want the fans to hold us to a high standard. We hold ourselves to a high standard. We have very high expectations of the quality of the work and that we produce as a studio, and the experiences that we offer as a studio. So, like, I don't want fans to cut us slack around this. Like the fans deserve a high quality product, and they should hold us to those expectations. And we we take the feedback very seriously, and we do take it to heart, and it does serve to drive us to get better as people and as an organization. And we are committed to making beautiful localized products for European fans and other fans around the world uh, going forward.
So yeah, how long do you think it's gonna take to fix the translation? I don't know if it's the same for all languages, but at least in French, because that's what the community is interested in our on our channel. So how long do you think it's gonna fix it, and when can fans find the fixed versions of the cards?
Yeah, look, I mean, the actual process of translating a set is not that long to do. So the key issue is making sure that you've got the right people in the process more than the actual amount of time that it takes to translate things once you have that. So for a fully finished set, a good translation team over the course of about 4 to 6 weeks or so can get an entire set done and reviewed and actually prepared to the right kind of standard. So the keys for us have been to focus on getting the right people in place in the team that are actually doing this and getting that real TCG expertise into the team to make the thing better, and also making sure that we've got the appropriate people doing the reviews as well. So we don't anticipate it's going to be a long time before we actually have some corrected translations out there, and we have a much improved standard of the product. We're certainly looking later this year to have some much improved product in the hands of fans for some of the newer sets that are coming through the pipeline as well. But I don't want to commit to a date right now, because the most important thing for us is that the product has to be right. If it's not right, we're not going to release it, and we do have to make sure that we go through and we are actually completely confident that the things that are being produced are at a standard that are going to actually delight the fans in Europe, because this product means a lot to us. It really is very important that we deliver the highest possible standard product that we can for the European community, and we're really committed to make sure that we actually deliver on that.
Can you tell us what's next for the localized versions of the game? Because despite all the issues that we talked about earlier, the game got a huge boost. We've seen lots of players. I think we talked about it with Pedro earlier today, but a lot of players are coming into the game in the last few days, so it's huge. It's I think it's going to be hate, but it's still really not really possible to play with an entirely French deck. Some of the cards are going to be in English. So when will players be able to play with all localized cards? Is that going to be something that happens soon, or maybe later down the road?
Look, it's absolutely our ambition to be able to get to a point where we have European language product launching within the same kind of window as the English language product is launching as well. So again, we have to we just have to take it step by step to make sure that we get the product to a quality that's right. But what we're looking at in terms of a kind of indicative product map is HP2 would be the next product that we have coming off the rank. So that would be a consolidation of Monarch plus Tales of Aria plus Everfest into a single set as well, and we sort of use those HP1 plus HP2 to kind of catch the European fans up to where we are in the product cycle at the moment. Then from there, as long as we can actually get things to the quality standard, we can make the timeframes work. What we'd be looking at starting to move towards there is more of the individual set releases for players to be able to play with. So that would mean that ideally we can actually get some kind of European language uprising product out there for fans as well. And for us, that's really critical, because draft and sealed deck are just such key parts of Flesh and Blood and the TCG experience. And we understand that when it's something like draft as well, it's so important to be able to think and react fast. And for some players, that just means being able to actually read the product in your own language. It's just that much easier if you're flipping through a pack of 15 cards and trying to make your pack one, pick one draft that, for a lot of players, they want to be able to read that in their native language. So it very much is for us a goal to actually get to European language products for the individual set releases once we've caught the continent up to the to where the game is at with these sort of historic products that we're bundling together with HP1 and HP2.
I don't know if you're aware of that, but for 2 years on the French Discord, we have a couple of new players every week, and for 3 weeks now, we have 40 new players on the French Discord since the French language was.
It's insane.
So it's multiplied by 20, more or less, the number of new players every day. and every week. And
That's incredible.
I think that obviously the French language was a big step because of the French local game store who didn't want to order non-French games. So it's a huge boost, and people seem to enjoy it, even with the translation and even with the fact that it's difficult to have a ready-to-play deck when you buy HP Black Label in French, because you need a lot and a lot of boosters, because you have a lot and a lot of non-generic cards and specific to some heroes. So that's lead to my question: why the choice to bring new player to localize a product that is not ready to play, like the Dorinthea versus Reinhardt or like the Uprising decks? The only things available right now, if I'm not mistaken, is the IRA Welcome deck, which is amazing for bringing new players. But why did you choose a product that it's difficult to play by his own?
Do you want to take that one, James, or do you want me to?
Sure. Look, just there's only so many products that you can make at any one time at the printers, so that's like a big driver behind why we've had to consolidate these sets into singular products like History Pack 1 and History Pack 2. And just on that, I just want to be very, very clear that History Pack 2 is only being released in localized language. This is not being released in English. Just wanted to be very clear about that. The Classic Battles localized version, yeah, absolutely, that will be coming through at some point in time. Without a doubt. Like your point, Pedro, is absolutely spot on. Like where is the play out of the box localized product? It's coming. We will make it. But I think that just getting the History Pack 1 into players' hands is better than having nothing at all. And we will create these out of the box products like Classic Battles, like Blitz decks, and localized languages in the future.
I mean, in some ways, Peter, you've hit on actually what's been a really central discussion for us at the studio overall, which is, if you go back to the start of Flesh and Blood, we started off with with Welcome to Wraith, and then sort of moved into Arcane Rising. And we really, because we're tournament players at heart, a lot of us, and we're very competitive. We started off with the hardest possible product that you could design, and I think as we've gone through in 2022, we've discussed this a lot. That's actually the theory behind why we need Reinhardt versus Dorinthea as a product. Is we recognise that building your own deck straight out of booster packs is actually the toughest possible player experience for how to get into a new game. And that was a big drive behind the design of Reinhardt versus Dorinthea and the need for there to be a really simple onboarding product. So, as James said, we have to start somewhere, and we kind of started with our home-based product, which is raw booster packs for people to build things straight out of. But we recognise it's very important to actually be able to get new players on board to learn all the game, learn the new mechanics, and we're certainly looking at how we can bring some of these other products through into market as well.
There is a member in our community who puts deck lists that are competitive with only HP 1 for the new player to be able to start when they buy only French products. And I think it's a great idea for
Hey, so look for and just a little plug on this one for anyone that's interested. We actually do have on the schedule for Utrecht in a couple of weeks' time. We've got both an HP1 constructed event that's on the schedule there. So anyone that wants to come along and have a shot at HP1 constructed, it's a bit of a throwback to 2020 style Flesh and Blood, but we put that one on there, and there's also a team sealed event with the HP1 product. So 3 players, 24 packs, rip them up, make three decks out of it, and have a go with your friends. We recognise there's a bit of a bridge here, but we're trying to put some formats and things on the schedule for for everybody to have a go at that. And if it's a good success, then we'll look at rolling those kind of things over onto the schedule for Lille as well, so that players can have a chance to try some of these out just with the local products.
That's crazy. We had to wait 25 years for MTG to play in a format called old school, but you already have your old school after 3 years. That's crazy.
Yep. There we go. The world moves fast these days.
2020, good
best
old
Magic
days.
format.
Yeah, we are still all a bit nostalgic about when things were simpler in Wraith, when only 4 heroes or maybe 8, and the decks were not messed up with the bad guys, with the chains and the levias and all the simpler times. Just to conclude on that part of the interview, I think it's important that I think we speak for the great majority of the players in the community, at least in our community, when we say that all these issues don't mean that they don't believe in the game. There's been some disappointment in the community, but there's still a lot of support, and they really think that they really believe in in your vision for the game and what you plan on doing. So it's great that you agreed to talk about it openly with us, and thank you so much for talking about it openly. I hope we can go back to talking about it maybe next year and say, so it's fixed now, and look at how it was last year, and the Ranger was a runner at the time. Can you imagine how so funny?
And
we just want to say thank you to the players, and thank you to the stores for backing us as well. We know for the stores it's a big choice to make to bring on a new game, and it's a lot of effort by the store owners to build those local communities. So really, from us, thank you so much to the communities across Europe, and especially across France. We worked really hard to do this, and we're going to keep working even harder to make it as good as we can, and to really help to build those communities out across Europe.
The best proof that it's working really well and people still love you very much is that we are trying to get some uprising to test draft for the Pro Tour, and it's impossible right now in France and almost in Europe. It's difficult to find projects right now to draft in person. And I think it's pretty much the same for Black Label. It's difficult to find more. So I know there will be second waves soon, but during that time we are unable to draft.
I don't know if you have the numbers already, but Uprising and Black Label seems to be a smash hit. Both of them seem insane. I mean, I've seen people opening packs all over the place, and we've been involved in the community for a long time now. It's never been this way.
That's fantastic. And look, Wave 2 releases of these products are coming out very, very soon. It's we're working hard to get more product into your hands. You may have seen around the world, supply chains have just been absolutely crazy for the last sort of year and a half, 2 years, and just even small things can turn into sort of huge problems when you are dealing with supply chains like the world has at the moment. So we have guys just working day and night to try and make sure that product comes through. And when I say day and night, I literally mean that, because for Europe, everything that happens over there happens at 2 o'clock in the morning over here. So we're working very hard to get the next wave of product into everybody's hands, and next wave Uprising will be with you very shortly.
Okay, great. The other big part of what we want to talk about is organized play, of course. We know it's really important for you guys that to make sure that the GOP circuit is a well-oiled machine, and we've seen the success of the Pro Tour 1 in New Jersey. It was amazing. But what would you change? Is there something that you will change for Pro Tour number 2? What's the feedback you had, and what happened, and how did you apprehend it?
Look, I mean, we were we were really thrilled to see the turnout that we had for Pro Tour #1 in New Jersey. We had in our mind 1,000 players showing up would be a really great result that we'd be happy with. And the week before that, we'd sold about 700, 800 tickets or so, and then every day as we were kind of coming from New Zealand. Through from Auckland to Los Angeles through to New York, every day it's like another 100 tickets have sold, another 100 tickets have sold, another 100 tickets have sold, and suddenly we got to Thursday night, and we're suddenly going, wow, we're pretty much sold out. We had to suspend ticket sales because there were so many players buying it. We weren't going to have enough spaces for the Pro Tour players to actually take part in it. So to sell out New Jersey was just absolutely fantastic. And we want to make sure that we bring exactly the same standard of event through to the European players as well. So the biggest thing for Pro Tour 2 that's changing versus Pro Tour 1 is, of course, Pro Tour 2 is going to be a hybrid format. So the first time ever that players have had a chance to go in at the top level with a hybrid of draft and classic constructed, and we think that's really going to test players across both of the critical skills that you need to prove yourself at the top level with both limited play and with constructed play as well. But we want to make sure that there's fantastic events on for the whole community as well. And so there's obviously the calling and the battle hardened events that are going on the Saturday and the Sunday. But really a big revelation for us from Pro Tour 1 was also just how popular a number of the casual formats were for this too. I was walking through the hall in New Jersey on the Sunday afternoon, and I saw 200 players sitting down, and I went past it and I went, oh, there's a battle hardened going on. And then I went, no, wait a minute. The battle harden's going on at the other end of the hall. What's this thing? And it was the commoner event. Nearly 200 players showed up to play in the commoner event on the Sunday, and that was actually one of the most special moments for me of the Pro Tour. Is we have been trying to grow and build the game for a wider fan base than just the really hardcore competitive players, and to see that kind of come to fruition in New Jersey was fantastic. So there is going to be this focus for the side event schedule in Lille of making sure there's a lot of things for everybody to take part in. So like I said, we're going to be looking at having an HP1 draft where you can pick your language that you want to use. We're going to have an HP1 constructed event. We're going to have a commoner event. We're going to have ultimate pit fight. There's going to be a cosplay contest, and it's about building building the broader aspects of what makes these events great is a really core focus of ours, alongside this really testing format for the elite players in the Pro Tour as well. So we're really excited about this and can't wait to get up there.
Yeah, can I just add something to that? Probably the New Jersey was an incredible success, and we were very happy and very very proud of of that event in whole. There was probably only one thing that was quite upsetting, and that's the fact that quite a few people, like dozens and dozens of people, got turned away from the calling in particular because they didn't pre-register. And I'm talking about people who had traveled to New Jersey from New Zealand. Some of my friends from Auckland traveled to New Jersey and couldn't play in the calling. Players traveled from Europe to New Jersey and couldn't play in the calling because it's sold out. There was literally not a single table and chair left in the building. So this is a message to the fans out there. If you're coming to Lille, please, please, please go and pre-register like now. Go and buy a ticket to play in the calling or whatever you want to play in now. Because if you turn up on the day, there's a good chance this thing's going to sell out again. Like pre-register, go and do it now. Lock your seat in to avoid disappointment. I also just want to do a quick shout out to our artists. Like in New Jersey, the artist booths were just packed the whole weekend. There were queues of people to meet Federico Musetti, the artist of this beautiful librarian hanging on the wall behind me. He's going to be returning for Lille. He's done some of the really top end iconic art in the game, like both adult and young Chain, adult and young Lexi, um, uh, Mangle, Pulverize, Asvalai the Dragon. Like he's done a lot of like the top tier art, and he'll be back. We also have Othon Nicolaitis
Oh.
from Greece, who is the artist of both young and adult Briar. And he did Necria and Yindroi, the dragons from Uprising, and a number of other like really top pieces of art in the game. But particularly Briar, like Briar is probably one of the leading heroes in this new format. So expect lots of Briars to be signed on site. But yeah, like these artists are going to be turning up. Like in New Jersey, the artist booths were incredible. The amount of effort that both Federico and Steve Argyle put into having the large scale prints on hand to purchase and get autographed. And as Chris mentioned, it's not just about the Pro Tour; it's about an event which is welcoming to all Flesh and Blood fans. There's going to be the special commemorative promo card. We did Yorick for New Jersey. We've got Yorick's um, uh, instrument that we're giving away in Lille, and that'll be the only time you can ever get that particular promo card. It's a beautiful double-sided cold foil that has the flavor high caution speakers, we call it, on one side, and then the English version of what the thing actually does on the other side. So yeah, like basically the message I want to get out there is that this event in Lille isn't just about the Pro Tour players. It's an event for all Flesh and Blood fans, and there's going to be something for everybody there. And please pre-register, please.
Yeah,
What is the website, Chris, to pre-register at? Is it Tournament Centre, mate?
Yeah, it's on at tournamentcenter.gg, or you can just go to fabtcg.com and you can find the links through to Pro Tour Lille and the Calling Lille up on the carousel.
Yeah, I'll link it in the description. So people, if you're hearing us, just check in the description the link we're talking about, and click right now and go and pre-register, because it's gonna be a huge party. I just want to say another thing, because Pedro said that as soon as we reach 1,000 players on the French Discord, he's gonna organize a huge party, and there's a good chance it's gonna happen by the time we get to Lille. So you're obviously invited, Chris and James, and it's gonna be amazing.
Well, I just want to say
Yeah.
that I'm really disappointed, because you said you were proud of them, but I'm disappointed about the artists. In Pro Tour number 1, they were only working 12 hours a day, and it wasn't enough for me to sign my chain. So I'm a little bit disappointed. If you can make them work like 20 hours a day, it will be much more convenient for players to have time to queue, because the queue was between the first round and the last round, basically. And if you play the Pro Tour, it's impossible to make your card signs. So I don't know what is
you
the
have to make a
solution, but,
choice.
Yeah.
We'll,
Maybe they need a drop off and pick up service.
But
We'll
talking
do
about signing and huge lines of people, we've noticed and we've heard about what you did during Pro Tour number 1, James, that you signed a lot of cards and you took some time to talk to a lot of people. Was that exhausting? Is that something that you're gonna do again in Lille, or do you think it's gonna be a time to be more hands off and let the games play and not get as much involved with the fans?
Look, I'm coming there to connect with the fans and be there for the fans. And yeah, look, it was very overwhelming, but also humbling in New Jersey, just to see the outpouring of support and appreciation from the fans. And like 99% of people who I spoke with at New Jersey, they just wanted to share their story about what Flesh and Blood meant to them, and the adventures that they'd had, and the friendships that they've made, and how it had been a positive force in their life. And it was very touching to hear such incredibly beautiful stories from so many fans who were there. So yeah, look, in New Jersey, the plan was that I was going to be at the LSS booth to connect with fans for about an hour and a half a day, and it ended up being that I just did that all day, every day. And I pretty well much expect Leo to be the same. So, look, I'll be out there, out and about with the fans on the floor, and yeah, look, don't hesitate to come up and have a chat, take a photo, get some stuff signed, and I'm looking forward to it too.
Okay,
Cool.
great.
Regarding organized play, we talk about the elephant in the room. Now we have to talk about the hippopotamus in the room. What happened with Elo rankings? It's been weeks that people are waiting to see the updates on the Hilo. The XP is some kind of has some kind of limitation, and we are all waiting the day when Hilo will take place. Why is it late, and when will it be the main way to qualify?
Yeah, so look, the ELO update is coming through in the next couple of days. We have been just having to make some updates to Gem over the last few weeks, and making sure that it was capable of supporting everything that we needed to support properly for the Road to Nationals this season, and so that has meant that there's just been a bit of a delay in doing the ELO updates, but that's sitting there right now, and the next update is going to be coming through this week. So
are you working on the algorithm?
Yeah, and just making sure that the server is processing everything in exactly the right order. For those of you that are mathematically inclined, ELO is a bit different to XP, because if you don't process the tournaments in the right order for XP, it doesn't matter. You get 3 points, you get another 3 points, you get another 3 points. For ELO, it matters that you get the ordering of the tournaments done absolutely, exactly, precisely right, because what my ELO is at each round determines how many points I am staking in every single round. And so we just had to make sure that that as we were going through and we were starting to support a much larger number of tournaments for ProQuest and Road to Nationals, that it was actually processing all the tournaments correctly and in the right order. And so that's just taken us a little bit of time to actually get that out and get that right. But we wanted to make sure that when we pushed the button, that that players saw the right things, and we didn't have players getting unusual results showing up on their accounts there. So that will be coming very shortly. In terms of when's it going to actually be the main way of qualifying, what we need to do is we need to run through the Road to National season and make sure that we can sort of see the right kind of results coming out of the system. But on the basis of that, we are looking at the possibility of using ELO as a means of qualifying for the World Championships. We want people to be able to qualify on the basis that they've demonstrated that they are the best player and not just the person that is playing the most games. And sometimes being able to get a lot of XP means that you're based in a town or a city that happens to have a lot of stores that allows you to play multiple armories a week. And we don't just want it to be a matter of access that drives eligibility. We want it to actually be a matter of skill as a kind of a key determinant. So that's why we pushed ELO down to actually be on the ProQuest and on the Road to Nationals, so that the players have got access to enough events to start to build up an ELO history to actually sort of demonstrate that the top players in the rankings are actually recognizably the top players in the world on the basis of play skill. We need to watch the results and just sort of see what happens and what comes through from the ProQuest and Road to Nationals season, but on the basis that that the system seems to be sort of reasonably stable and performing well, and that we're getting a meaningful batch of players up the top that people would recognise as the world's best players. I think the intent is there that ELO would be a means to qualify for the World Championships.
So some people in the competitive scene point that every round your Elo in MTG was updated. So before you play your next opponent in round 2, your Elo will be updating. And some people point out that it's not the case in Flesh and Blood. Your Elo is the same for the whole tournament. Then it updates. And then for the next tournament, it will be the same. Then it updates. That is a lot more rewarding when you win and you have a low hilo. But when your ranking is really high, it's a lot more punishing. Is that on purpose, or is it still in progress?
No, so I saw that point going around on Twitter a few weeks back. Some people thought that that was the case, but it's not. We do update round on round on round. So it is processed every single round, and if you win, your elo goes up, and then your elo, the number of points that you stake in round two is based on your score going in plus the number of points that you won or lost in round one. So very much is intended to be that same algorithm. And partly then just ensuring that the timing of all of that is working properly with the large number of events that we're working across has been a key piece for us just to make sure it's working properly inside all our servers. But we saw the things on Twitter. We went back, we did an internal review just to make sure that the system was working properly. That's part of the delay. It does update like you were describing that you would expect it to.
Okay, cool, great. Regarding the delays and all the stuff you said you have to do, it looks like you are 1 million people in LSS. How do you manage to do everything? Because I heard that you are a pretty small company, growing fast, but still small. How many people are you now? And how do you hire? Is it like a startup, or is it a slow and secure process?
Yeah, I mean, the studio has.
sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, look, the studio currently we're at about 35 staff, and we've more than doubled the headcount in the last 12 months. So yeah, you're back. We're probably at about like maybe 12 or 15 staff. So like we are growing pretty quickly, and we still have quite a few positions that we're looking to fill as well. One of the difficulties that we faced is the fact that the New Zealand border has been shut for over 2 years. So we can't recruit any international talent, or we can't get them into the country. And we are the only trading card game publisher in this part of the world, including Australia or New Zealand. So it's not like we have an existing talent pool, of experienced industry veterans to be drawing upon. So that's been, some challenges and limiting factors that we've had to work through. The New Zealand government has started to ease up on our border restrictions, so there is some possibilities to bring people to New Zealand, and we're starting to explore that as we move forward into the back half of this year. But yeah, when we're continuing to hire domestically where we can, and there's some positions that we can also hire as international contractors, and people can work remotely. But in the most part, as in general, we want our team to be in-house at HQ. Yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that, Chris?
Pedro?
No, look, it's a really exciting challenge to actually sort of be involved in something like this, right? It's very I think people look at us and they sort of imagine that we might be the size of Konami, that we might be the size of Hasbro or something like that, and we're not actually anything close to those kinds of sizes. So there's a lot of people that do a lot of different things inside the studio, and that's okay. It just makes for an exciting and challenging job for everybody. I think what's good about it is just being such a small studio, everybody's pretty close to everybody else in the studio, and it also means that you're pretty close to the community as well, and that's really important. Everybody has a level of involvement with stores or players or something else, and that just, I think, sort of goes to contribute to the really special culture that we have at Legend Story Studios also.
Yeah, I don't sleep very much. That's how I get a lot done in my department anyway. A lot of people in our company don't sleep very much. That's what makes up for only having 35 staff. but it's all right. We love what we do.
Before we go any further, are we okay on time? I don't know how long you wanted to do the interview, but if we need to speed things up, can you just don't hesitate and tell me?
Probably good for another 10 minutes.
Okay.
We still have a lot of questions. That's why it's better
Yeah.
to see with you.
Well,
I'll give
I
you
guess
15. I'll
we'll
give you
really
15
speed
then.
things up. Yeah.
Let's get on to it.
Okay.
Yep.
Do a quick fire round.
Yeah. Before touching on other subjects, are you happy and are you comfortable with the way things are with the game, metagame wise? Because some people last season were not really happy about some heroes domination, with Starvo mirrors all over the place. Not me, because I love doing the commentary on Starvo mirrors. But is that your view that it was problematic last season, and coming into the new RTN season and coming into the Pro Tour, are you comfortable with where the game is right now?
Look, I mean, you can't deny the stats, the data.
Yeah.
From last season. Starvo was better than the other heroes. It's just that is what it is. The Pro Tour was still a fantastic event, and the top 8 demonstrated some excellent diversity. Like Starvo, yeah, 3 in the top 8, but we also had 2 Kanos, Prism, Briar, Chain. So it was a good spread of heroes across the top 8, and Starvo didn't win that tournament. So like there's something to be said that there were actually some good options in play for competitors at the highest level. As we look forward, though, like I think that the current metagame is shaping up to be incredibly interesting. If we look at Road to Nationals week 1, which just concluded, we had 13 out of the 17 legal heroes win a Road to Nationals. That's an exceptional result. We had all 3 heroes from Uprising win Road to National events. There was a very, very nice spread of wins, across the pool of legal heroes. I think there was a cluster that won 4 Road to Nationals each. There was like maybe 4 heroes that won 4, and then there was a bunch that won 2, and then there were lots that won a single event. So
included Azalea, which is amazing.
The distribution of wins is quite good. I think that obviously, as we move forward with the season, we'll probably start to get some consolidation around some front runners. I mean, that's just how TCGs work. Like every TCG is like that. There's always a cluster of best decks, and that is what becomes the metagame, and that's what people are aiming to beat. So I think that that's just the natural life cycle of any metagame. But yeah, I do hope that we can see metagames, as we move forward in time, that have a bit more evolution to them, where it is an evolving metagame where the deck that was the best performing this week can be preyed upon by something else which has favorable matchups against that, and then that displaces week one's most successful deck, and then week 3 something's preying on week 2's winner, and so on. Like that's like an ideal metagame. And yeah, look, let's see what happens with Road to National season into National Champs, but the way that it's shaping up from early Road to Nationals data coming through, it looks to be pretty healthy.
That is true.
Looks like it from our end too, so that's why I wanted to talk to you about it. In terms of deck building, we've seen some two new great heroes, Fi and Dromai, and the reception has been amazing. I mean, people are in love with them. But in terms of deck building, they're more now than others. Like, for example, Briar, that's a hero that came up in the last few months. Briar can play with a lot of generics, and it's not really the case for Five, for Dromai, or for heroes like Boltin. What's the goal going forward? Are we gonna see more heroes with specific gameplay, or more open heroes with who can play with lots of with a pool of cards that's more important?
I think the answer to that is easy. It's like both. It's important to have some heroes which are very specific in what they're doing, and and for some heroes to exist that can tap into a broad base of the card pool. I think that it would be remiss to not provide both of these options to players for strategic deck building decisions.
We've seen two new heroes here in Uprising, but there's no new class since Monarch last year. When can we expect new classes? Because in the lore book we can read about necromancers, priests, and all that kind of stuff. Is that coming later down the road, or is that soon? Can you tell us anything about what the game is, where the game is going in the next few months? Just one information, one tidbit of information, maybe.
Last time I was on the show, I think you held me to a promise to, if I come back, I had to bring some spoilers, right?
Yeah.
I think I made that promise. So yeah, look, I can tell you that that there is you're going to get a new class later this year. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to tell you that there's a new class coming.
Is that
And,
a class that we've heard
it's-
about? Or is that something entirely new? Or is that something that we've read about in the lore book? Just one small information.
I'm pretty sure that it's mentioned in the lore book. I'm pretty sure that it's in the lore book. So yeah, you can go back and review that and do some deduction. But look, the next booster set that comes out, it's going to be releasing in November. Um, it's an incredible product. It's definitely our best product yet in terms of connecting the story arc from one set to the next set. So obviously, like Uprising is the story of essentially like the civil war that's going on
Mm-hmm.
inside Volkor with the Volkai, like the common folk rising up against the imperialists, the Drakai, and yeah, which is symbolized by the Phoenix rising to challenge the dragon. And as we move into the November release, the booster set is called Dynasty, which I spoiled on Instant Speed podcast recently. My good friend Matt DeMarco.
Mm-hmm.
So the set's called Dynasty, and it's a beautiful way of connecting that story arc over from Uprising and actually somewhat the conclusion of that story arc, like what actually happens at the end of this conflict between the Phoenix rising to challenge the dragon. And like another uh spoiler or preview for you is um Dynasty will actually feature the emperor of Volkor, who is a very significant character in the story and in the lore. So you can look forward to seeing the Emperor. He's going to be in Dynasty. He is a hero that you can actually play with.
Wow.
He's very significant. You'll see first images of him at Pro Tour Lille. So make sure you get to Pro Tour Lille. Come and find me and take a photo next to the banners of the Emperor. And yeah, look, he brings something to the game that uh, it's a first. It's a first, and it's quite significant and it's very splashy. And I think that fans are going to absolutely love the Emperor and what he does.
Intelligence 5.
Intellect 5, yeah, that'd be amazing. I just want to, one last question. It's my last question. It's a question from the community. It's from an anonymous Bolton fanboy, but there's a joke going on in the French Discord about who the good guys are in the game and who the bad guys are. Like Bolton is definitely a good guy, Bravo is a good guy, Chen is a really bad guy. But what's your take on the debate? Are there really definite heroes and bad guys in the game? And most importantly, what side are you in? Are you team good guys or team bad guys, both of you?
All right, so look, good guy, bad guy, it's all really subjective. Like each of these characters has their own story, right? Like Chain doesn't think that he's a bad guy. He's just got some motivations and some agendas that he's pursuing. And through Chain's eyes, Solana are the bad guys. Like the way that they treated him and his family, the way that he was cast out from Solana. Like Solana are the persecutors and the bad guys, and he's trying to put things right. Um, and that's very much actually part of the fabric of the law of Flesh and Blood, which features on the back of the card, actually, in the angelic script across the top and across the bottom. That it's not always as simple as good and bad. It's really about like different agendas or different motivations that often just lead to points of conflict. But innately, the differing agendas just in and of themselves aren't necessarily good or evil. They're just what's motivating that individual or that group of people. But just from a thematic point of view, I guess, like the demonastery and chain and all of that, all of the demons and the demonic stuff, like it is the stereotypical, like, I guess, presentation of what like bad or evil or whatever like is personified as, um or manifests as through like visual identity. So yeah, look, it's very easy to just like put Chain into the primary antagonist role, and put the golden hair, shining armor, good noble knight type characters into the good guy box. Um, but there's more to our stories than that. And as we go forward, and we're able to produce more of the lore through published materials, obviously there's some amount of it on our website. But and I've talked about this many times over the past year or so in our interviews. But we do have a plan and a commitment to publish more of this work in books. We did the first book, which is good, but there's a lot more that we want to tell about the lore and about the worlds and about the stories, that will sort of, like what I was just talking about, will make more sense as you actually start to understand and see the lenses that these different regions are looking through, and their motivations. When it comes to what side am I on, well, I'm a big fan of Solana. Like,
Wow.
I've
I knew
spoken in
it.
other interviews, right? Like, growing up, I was all about like medieval Europe. I was very lucky when I was a young boy to be taken on a tour of the castles of England, and like King Arthur was my absolute number one most favorite childhood story. King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and like I read it again and again and again. Which is why my grandparents took me to England to go and see his castle at Tintagel. And you can see, I've got the beautiful painting of the librarian
Yeah.
on my wall, and sort of my Solana is what I guess resonates with me the most, just from my journey in my life. But when we were designing Flesh and Blood, I really wanted to try and capture a unique identity and culture into each of the 8 regions. And I believe that each of those 8 regions is resonating with different people in different ways from whatever their journey is in life. But for me, it's Solana, and sort of one of my goals is to get all of the Solana heroes in big scale, like the one behind me of the librarian, and beautifully framed in that ornate style frame, and displayed in my house eventually.
So great. What about you, Chris? When you find the time to play Flesh and Blood, what kind of hero do you like to play? Just to finish things off. Oh, great! Amazing. Just like Pedro, it's one of his favorite heroes.
Yep. No, I'm a ninja player from day one.
Amazing.
Mysteria. Yep, that's my one.
Okay. Well,
So
thank
you guys got to
So,
quick pick of the real Benji on camera earlier on. But the real Benji popped his head up.
oh,
Yeah, indeed.
he's the guy who inspired Benji. Your
Yeah,
little
Yeah, so
one?
Benji,
Yeah, that
Benji
little-
is based on my 4-year-old son.
It's amazing.
So,
I need to
yeah.
introduce you to my son, who looks exactly like Benji too. It's he's playing Benji. He's 9, and he just looks exactly like Benji. And you meet him in Lille, but you'll tell me if he looks like him too. But it's great to know that Benji was based on a real kid. It's amazing. Well, thank you
Fantastic.
so much, guys. I know we've taken a lot of your time, but it was amazing to be able to talk to both of you. Thank you, Pedro, too, as well. And I guess the next time we see each other, it's going to be in the Flesh and Blood in Lille. So see you around, and thank you so much for all this information and answers.
Merci.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Romain and Pedro. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.